everyone. I am an enrolled member of the Navajo Nation. In our culture, it is polite to begin presentations by introducing who our families are. In that spirit, I would like to begin by saying I am a member of the Bitterwater clan of Pinon, Arizona. My father is an enrolled member of the Blackfeet Nation. My great-grandmother's family are therefore headed red people. My great-grandfathers were French fur traders of the Pacific Northwest. I was born in Tuba City, but was raised primarily in Mesa, a suburb of Phoenix. On December 14, 2016, I will graduate with a master's degree in Family and Human Development from the T. Denny Sanford School of Social and Family Dynamics at Arizona State University. This presentation is about Native American connections. This is what the acronym NAC stands for. NAC is an organization that aims to help marginalized families by offering programs in addiction treatment and low-income housing. For this presentation, we will only be worrying about NAC's treatment program services. This report will mostly focus on how NAC came about, what they currently offer, where they are lacking, and suggestions of how NAC can grow and evolve into an organization that better meets the needs of their clients. In 2005, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse reported that federal, state, and local governments spent $74 billion on incarceration, court proceedings, probation, and parole for substance-involved adult and juvenile offenders. Less than 1% of that amount, or $632 million, was spent on prevention and treatment. NCASA also reports that of the 2.3 million incarcerates in state and federal prison, 85% are there for crimes related to alcohol or substance abuse. Even more, at least 1.5 million incarcerates can be clinically diagnosed as suffering from substance abuse or addiction diseases under the standards put forth by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Probably most disturbing, however, are the number of children affected by alcohol and substance abuse nationwide. The Children's Bureau reported on their website that at least 8.3 million children live with a parent who is either substance dependent or abuses substances, and that they are more likely to experience child abuse and or neglect. In 2005, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse reported that federal, state, and local governments spent $74 billion on incarceration, court proceedings, probation, and parole for substance-involved adult and juvenile offenders. Less than 1% of that amount, or $632 million, is spent on prevention and treatment. NCASA reports that of the 2.3 million incarcerates in state and federal prison, 85% were there for crimes related to alcohol or substance abuse. Even more, at least 1.5 million of the 2.3 million incarcerates can be diagnosed clinically as suffering from substance abuse or addiction problems under the standards put forth by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. Probably most disturbing, however, are the number of children affected by alcohol and substance abuse nationwide. The Children's Bureau reports on their website that at least 8.3 million children live with a parent who is either substance dependent or abuses substances. As a result of their parents' alcohol or substance abuse, these children are more likely to experience child abuse and or neglect. In Arizona, a 2010 survey found that 51.6% of Arizona residents drink alcohol. In 2010, it was also reported that there were 27,455 DUI arrests. Mothers Against Drunk Driving reported 206 traffic deaths that year, were drunk driving related. This accounted for 27% of all traffic deaths in Arizona in 2010. Other facts about alcohol and substance abuse are being reported by the Justice Center and Council of Governments. JCCSG found that from 1995 to 2005, the prison population in Arizona grew by 52%. In 2012, JCCSG also reported that the Department of Corrections spending increased by 100% between years 1997 to 2007. Currently, Arizona is paying an estimated $23,826 annually per inmate. More troubling are the statistics above, which were taken by Arizona's court-appointed special advocates. CASA reports that as of 2015, neglect remains the number one reason children are placed in Arizona's child welfare system. An embarrassing 85% of children in Arizona were removed for neglect in 2015. CASA goes on to reveal that in 2014, 120 child deaths involved drugs and or alcohol. Tragically, that same year, 38 children successfully committed suicide. What is being done to address this problem? This takes us to the Arizona Department of Health Services and its Division of Behavioral Health Services Annual Report on Substance Abuse Treatment Programs for the fiscal year 2014. The ADHS reports that over half of all persons who enter treatment for alcohol or substance problems do so voluntarily. That means there is no criminal element for over half the people who enter treatment willingly. Of those in treatment, Arizona reports that 92% are over the age of 18. 34% are employed either full-time or part-time. 42% have slowed down the use or have chosen to not use at all. 80% report no recent encounters with law enforcement or no new charges filed with the criminal justice system. Finally, 93% of participants in treatment programs are not homeless. All of these reasons prove why we need places such as Native American Connections. NAC is a nonprofit organization with over 17 locations in or around the Phoenix area. NAC grew from a grassroots effort to combat the presence of alcohol abuse among homeless Native American men in Phoenix during 1972. Today, NAC offers a continuum of affordable housing, behavioral health, and community development services which touch and change the lives of over 1,000 individuals and families each year. Key areas of service include health, housing, and community development. Their vision is to be recognized as an innovative Native American service and development organization. NAC's behavioral health services include recovery and treatment programs that extend to all family members, from children to elders. Treatment programs include both inpatient and outpatient program options. Inpatient programs provide residential treatment. They are usually 45 days. Outpatient programs, such as the intensive outpatient program and the standard outpatient program, usually last about 8 to 12 weeks. NAC prides itself on its ability to use collaboration, empowerment, integrity, stewardship, wellness, compassion, family, spirituality, teamwork, and volunteerism into their treatment programs. Keeping with Native American influenced traditions, NAC integrates sweat lodge ceremonies, talking circles, and drum circles into their clients' treatment. Surprisingly, NAC programs are open to all of our relations, excluding but not limited to race, color, sex, religion, national or ethnic origin, familial status, or disability. Everyone should feel welcome at NAC. Behavioral health services include recovery, NAC is doing was so impressive, it inspired a researcher from the University of Arizona. Dr. Jenny Chong, now the Director of Research of the Neurology College of Medicine at U of A, sponsored 2 research papers concerning the Native women of NAC. The first research paper involves social networks and social support as it relates to psychosocial functioning among American Indian women at NAC. The second research paper studied predictors for relapse with American Indian women who use services at NAC. Beginning around 2004, Dr. Jenny Chong began studying the relationship between social networks and social support as it relates to psychosocial functioning. Psychosocial functioning are things such as self-efficacy, self-esteem, anxiety, depression, and hostility, all factors known to influence substance abuse and addiction problems. Dr. Chong found that there really was no significant relationship with social networks, such as families, except that negative family members and negative family interactions, either in the present or past, seem to influence relapse. Still, there was not enough participants to make this correlation, and Dr. Chong was left to conclude that whether a Native woman had a positive family network or negative family network didn't seem to matter when it came to whether that person would use again. This was not the case with social support systems. Social support can be positive friends and family who supported the person while they were in treatment. Those with positive social support, either from friends or family, seem to do better in the long run. This led Dr. Chong to believe that treatment interventions should aim to increase structural support as well as to provide specific support to help maintain abstinence. As a side discussion, Dr. Chong noted that observed social support, which included support from therapists and rehabilitation coaches early on in recovery, as well as support from other clients who were sober in the program, seemed to influence the likelihood that a client would remain strong early on in their sobriety. Dr. Chong suggested if NAC could envision some way to continue this social support after treatment, perhaps Native women in the program might have less of a chance of relapsing after their program was finished. Next, we'll look at predictors of relapse for American Indian women after substance abuse treatment, which is the other study conducted by Dr. Jenny Chong. In this study, Dr. Chong followed 346 women who had enrolled in NAC's Guiding Stars Treatment Center. It is a 45-day residential program for women suffering from substance abuse. 99% of those who participated were enrolled in a federally recognized tribe. The average age of the women in this study was 31 years old. Interestingly, half of the women studied were between the ages of 25 and 34. In addition, 55% did not have high school education. 23% had completed high school. 21% had attended college. Lastly, about 60% had never been married. Chong wanted to know what were the reasons for relapsing after they left Guiding Star. I want to mention that of the some 376 women approached to be in the study, only 346 agreed to participate. Of those, only 186 were available for a 6-month follow-up, and only 167 were available for a 12-month follow-up. For the 186 women who participated in the 6-month follow-up, those who had relapsed contributed their relapse to these following reasons. They had prior alcohol treatment experience that was unsuccessful. They were around others who were actively using, and they had been craving drugs and alcohol since during their intake process. For the 167 women who participated in the 12-month follow-up, those who had relapsed contributed their relapse to having poor family relations, having experienced some negative life event, being around others who were using, and or they were craving alcohol. What disturbed me the most about reading this study was that Dr. Chong had found 22 women in jail or prison at the 6-month follow-up. She also discovered 13 women in jail or prison at the 12-month follow-up. Most disturbingly, however, was that 3 women who agreed to participate in her study died. In this report, Dr. Chong talks about 2 previous studies she had been a part of. The first was a study of 3 tribal nations in the Southwest. In that study conducted in 2012, 1/3 of the population studied was diagnosed as having an alcohol or drug problem. In a separate study conducted in 1998, 74 to 94% of tribal members interviewed had relapsed in the last 30 days, despite having sought treatment in the past year. The results from these studies led Dr. Chong to conclude there is an urgent need to investigate and address relapse issues in this special population. Presently, I have 3 criticisms with NAC's current approaches. Firstly, little or nothing has been done to improve NAC in the years following Dr. Chong's research. Dr. Chong studied Native American women at NAC for 3 years. Several times throughout her research, she noted that increased social support was linked with a less likely chance to relapse. Increased social support can be long-term treatment programs. Increased social support can also be increased child care subsidies for parents enrolled in NAC programs with children. The only thing that was done following Dr. Chong's departure was a hotline service for NAC clients. People were allowed to call in and speak to a recovery coach 24/7 if they were experiencing a crisis which could have led to relapse. This hotline program failed and was defunded after only 1 year. After reading Dr. Chong's research, it inspired me to do my own research into how I can help NAC decrease the chance of clients relapsing. This research led me to drug courts. Pictured is Judge Reeves. He presides over a drug court in Putnam County, New York. In 2014, NBC Nightly News ran a segment featuring the success Judge Reeves is having with addicts in his county. In Judge Reed's court, offenders have to complete a 2-year treatment program. But when they graduate, their charges will be significantly reduced or dropped. The program includes daily group therapy, weekly personal therapy, personal development seminars, and avid drug testing. New users are sometimes required to drug test up to 4 or 5 times a week. But as a result of these longer, intensive treatment programs, crime rate is reduced, families are restored, and drug courts have saved taxpayers a lot of money. In essence, Judge Reed's drug court and drug courts across the country have proven that longer treatment programs are not only cost-effective, they're life-changing. So what can NAC learn from drug courts? Mostly that longer drug treatment programs ensure longer periods of sobriety and increased chances of lifelong recovery. This is a 1-year treatment program I designed for NAC. This program will not only meet the requirements of drug courts, but continuing with NAC's vision to inculcate Native culture, this year-long program was created using the medicine wheel, a traditional Native American teaching tool. Here is an example of how we can envision a year-long program using the traditional medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is a symbol of healing for many Native American tribes. It is a circle divided in 4 with each section representative of how people heal. Native Americans believe people heal in 4 ways: physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. These healing elements can be measured in phases. Phase 1 will focus on physical healing. Phase 2 will focus on emotional healing, and so on. There will be requirements to pass each phase, and this will allow NAC to measure how clients are progressing in the program. During the first 2 phases, clients will need to routinely pass drug tests while attending increased group sessions, or as they are called now, intensive outpatient program classes. Phase 2 will also be followed up with bi-weekly meetings with therapists, and recovery coaches that help clients work on specifics such as personal development and crisis intervention. By phase 3, clients will move towards a more standardized approach to rehabilitation therapy. Group sessions, still daily, will drop to only 1 hour per day, as they are now. This will also address the lack of follow-up care Dr. Chong reported after NAC women left NAC Guiding Stars program. Phase 4 empowers clients to give back to NAC through volunteer work. NAC can cater to this group by giving them special projects that will allow them to give back and feel empowered in their renewed status in the community. I think about NAC's failed relapse hotline. Perhaps clients can volunteer to answer phones to help revive Dr. Chong's dream. By the time clients graduate, they will have 365 days of sobriety. They will have completed 132 intensive outpatient program classes. They will have completed 32 standard outpatient program classes. They will have met with an NAC clinician at least 12 times. And NAC clients will have volunteered 120 hours, giving back to NAC and completing the circle of healing. After meeting all the necessary requirements to pass this year-long treatment program, NAC can offer clients a diploma in NAC recovery. This diploma will signify that the client had fewer associations with negative peers by instead investing their time in developing a more complex, positive social support network. This increased social support will come from NAC staff and other NAC clients in the program. This diploma will guarantee that the support they gained is directly related to personal recovery and recovery maintenance efforts. This diploma will no doubt increase confidence in NAC clients. As you may remember, in Dr. Chong's 2000 study, over half of the Native women studied at Guiding Star did not have a high school diploma. This diploma will no doubt empower clients to continue staying sober. In fact, all of these potential positive outcomes are associated with longer periods of sobriety, as reported by Dr. Chong in her 2007 study. Shifting gears a bit, I'd like to talk about parents in recovery. Parents in recovery have the added stress of providing for childcare while they are in treatment. Little is known about how drug-dependent parents are meeting their childcare needs while in recovery. Only that women studied have reported experiencing adverse psychiatric symptoms because of the childcare obstacles that occurred before and after treatment. Moreover, childcare is expensive. On June 23, 2014, the White House Summit on Working Families met to discuss issues hindering economic progress. Among their concerns was childcare. The White House goes on to say that childcare is the most costly expenditure for family budgets that include small children. They estimate childcare is costing Americans $10,000 per child per year. The Arizona Department of Economic Security attempts to address this issue by offering child care services for parents participating in recovery programs, provided they meet their eligibility requirements and there is funding. But then there's Christopher Ritchie, father located in Cottonwood, Arizona, who this past summer posted his review of DES's child care administration to Google Maps. Terrible service, unhappy, unhelpful employees, very crowded with long wait times. In short, DES childcare is not guaranteed, and it is not realistic to have parents in recovery depend on that system to meet their childcare needs. Inspired by this realization, I took on a grant writing class this past spring. In my class, I developed 2 grant proposals. Both proposals had an estimated budget of $400,000. The first proposal was to implement a child care voucher program. This voucher program would give parents in recovery at NAC a $1,000 voucher check to provide child care needs at local child care facilities. I called Kitty Care, located near 7th Street and Indian School, along with Kinderlin at 7th Street and Camelback. These daycares are a few blocks from NAC's central location where intensive outpatient and standard outpatient programs now meet. Both daycares told me they have voucher programs set up and saw no problem with working with NAC to provide a voucher program for their clients. Problems I had with this program were that only 150 children could benefit per year with a $400,000 budget. The second proposal I wrote was for an on-site child care center. That was my favorite choice. I researched costs of renting out rooms on the 5th floor of NAC's central location, costs into how we can convert those rooms into a daycare. Firstly, I discovered that it would not be that much more to rent out 2 rooms. This way, NAC could have a nursery toddler room for children under the age of 4 and a school-age daycare room for kids ages 5 to 12. What intrigued me the most was that the cost for this program would reduce significantly after the first year. Secondly, numerous children over the year would be able to benefit. Whether NAC chooses to do either of these child care programs or something else, NAC will be able to ensure that children and providing child care are not reasons to relapse. Furthermore, if NAC wanted to, they could incorporate children more into their parents' recovery. As of now, children are still not a part of their parents' recovery at NAC. There are programs for parents and programs for children, but those 2 programs are not connected. These child care proposals offer a bridge on which parents and children can build a new life together. I'm going to end my presentation with this prayer from Chief Yellow Lark, written in 1887. Part of his prayer is written on the backs of these gold coins that NAC currently gives to clients who pass their 8-week intensive outpatient program. The prayer is, O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives life to all the world, hear me. I am small and weak. I need your strength and wisdom. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunset. Make my hands respect the things you have made, and my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may understand the things you have taught my people. Let me learn the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and rock. I seek strength, not to be superior to my brother, but to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me always ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes, so when life fades as the fading sunset, my spirit will come to you without shame, with and for all of my relations. Akehet. Thank you.